Hi, thank you for joining me on another episode of Chad Sports Talk. If you don't know, my name's Chad, and I'm taking a dive in the world of sports. This is my Week 8 college football recap video. To let you know that this is my best week thus far in picking the college games, and I went 10 and 2. That's right, 10 wins this week. Unprecedented. It's going to be interesting to see how these games kind of played out and go over reviews, and let's kind of go off and start off with Tennessee at Alabama. This one I said Tennessee's going to go in the Tuscaloosa looking for an upset and tied for roll. It was a close contest for the first three quarters. And Alabama barely had the lead after three of 24-17, but that fourth quarter, that's when Alabama just cruised and just handled Tennessee quite easily and continue their hold right now on the SEC West. But they're not alone. Next, we kind of go up to Ann Arbor and visit Michigan hosting Northwestern. I thought Northwestern would make this a game. Yeah, only in the first half. I really thought they would be there for three quarters. They were only there for two. Michigan was just too much. Blake Corum had 119 yards on the ground, 2 TDs, and that was enough for Michigan to just roll past and continue to make that Big Ten East a loaded and logjam division. I think right now is probably the best division in college football. Definitely going to be some excitement. Then we're going to head off to Ames, Iowa, where Iowa State play host to undefeated Oklahoma State. I said Iowa State would handle them because they got too much offensive weapons. Even though I was behind Oklahoma State after they've been proving me wrong for the past couple weeks, but they just could not contain Iowa State. This was a very good matchup between these two. They went back and forth, and Iowa State wins a close one, 24-21, to knock off Oklahoma State from the unbeaten ranks. Out in the Rose Bowl, where UCLA played host to number 10 Oregon. UCLA was actually favored in this game, so it was like one of those few. Even the previous one, Iowa State was favored against Oklahoma State. But this one I went with Oregon. I thought Oregon would probably win in overtime, even though I didn't say that last week. And they didn't need overtime. They was able to hold off and beat UCLA 34-31 as the Pac-12 continues to beat each other up. So who knows how things are going to kind of go from there. And then we went Oxnard, where Ole Miss played host to LSU. Orgeron, his farewell tour, I thought he would at least give Ole Miss some issues. Ole Miss had other ideas, and they roll past the Tigers 31-17. They're right there nipping at Alabama for the SEC West. Notre Dame played host to their West Coast rival USC, and it was not close. I thought it'd be a little bit closer. I mean, the score, USC was able to put up some points towards the end of the game, but it was all Notre Dame, and I'm winning 31-16. The Army is playing host to number 16 Wake Forest. I said, this would be too much Wake Forest for Army to handle. It was kind of fun to see how, Wake would handle the triple option at the military academy show. And apparently, defenses decided to take the day off, as this was a score fest. I mean, I think there was only like one good defensive play, and that was a pick six by Wake Forest. I mean, it was like the Army receiver was like wide open, and then all of a sudden the Wake Forest defender just appeared out of nowhere and ran it all the way back. But it was just score after score after score. I mean, that fourth quarter alone had 42 points. I mean, wow. Wake Forest outscored them. I told you it'd be too much Wake, and Wake is right now on its own island in the ACC. There's no Clemson, there's no Florida State, no Miami, none the true blue bloods of that conference is there. It's all Wake. Right now, Wake is 7-0. It's like the second time ever they've been this way. think 70 points. I think it was like the fourth time ever scoring that much. I think it's the second time Army's given up that much points, or it could be the other way around. But it was like a 70-56 game, and it's like that was unheard of. And hats off to Wake Forest for winning that just gun battle, basically. In the 17, Texas A&M hosting South Carolina. I said this is going to be all A&M, and they just dominated them completely. The 2 touchdowns was garbage touchdowns. I mean, that's how bad it was. It was 44-14 A&M. Now, out west, you had Air Force hosting San Diego State. I thought Air Force would make this interesting. They were behind most of the game. San Diego State offense was but it was just they were able to do enough to maintain themselves being undefeated, and they held on, beat Air Force 20-14. Pretty much putting the Falcons a step behind the leaders in the Mountain Division. So for the Air Force, the next big game against Army to see if they can win the Commander Chief Trophy. Then we went over to Pittsburgh, and Clemson visited. I thought Clemson can go in there and up in Pittsburgh. I wasn't really behind Pittsburgh yet. I am now. I am sorry, Pitt. You're definitely showing yourself to be a legitimate force. You look like you'd be one half of the ACC championship game right now, and you handle Clemson 27-17. Then the Roadrunners went to Louisiana Tech, and I told you, I'm behind the Roadrunners. I jumped on that bandwagon, and they were able to knock off Louisiana Tech quite easily, 45-16. Kind of to say, hey, this is the reason why we're going to the America now. And then we have Wisconsin visiting Purdue. I think it was another one of these ranked teams that weren't favored, and I wasn't behind the Boilermakers as of yet. I think they got lucky against Iowa. Got Iowa with their pants down. And Wisconsin just pulled away in the second half. I mean, the first half it was a good matchup, 13-13 all, but at the end, it was all Wisconsin, and they knocked off the Boilermakers, brought them back down to earth, 30-13. Also I'd like to get a shout out to the Fighting Illini for part of doing the impossible, going into Happy Valley and knocking off Penn State. It was 9 overtimes, so technically it is the longest game in college football history. But the new overtime rules, I think after the second overtime, they have to just do exchange 2-point plays. And then there's plenty of times Penn State should have won it. They dropped it. I think Illinois had one earlier. They dropped it. But Illinois came on top, knocked off Penn State, and kind of took Penn State out of the running for the East, since now they have 2 losses in the Big Ten standings. In my early prediction for right now of the college football, their Final Four to playoff, and right now still got Georgia number 1. I mean, right now you can't deny them. 2, I gotta give it to Cincinnati, even though they struggle against Navy, but it's a service academy, and service academies are not one of those easy schools to play against, because they play such an old style type of offense. It's hard to defend against a triple option. And 3-4, this one's kind of go up in the air, so I'll give Oklahoma 3, because right now they're the top team in the Big 12. And I'll get Michigan number 4, because right now they're undefeated. So I'll put them ahead of Ohio State, even though Ohio State's playing extremely well right now since they lost to Oregon. But that means that the game between these two is going to be even greater. I don't have Alabama in this. They're ranked number 3 in the polls. Just because of the mere fact that I see Georgia run the table in the SEC, which means Alabama will have 2 losses towards the end of the season. So I think Alabama's going to be out. I think Cincinnati's going to run. Oklahoma's going to run. And it'll probably be a 1-loss Big Ten school getting in. Just because of the fact that things kind of going. But right now, I'll give it to the undefeated Wolverines. But it could be Ohio State, it could be Michigan, it could be Michigan State. It could still be Iowa. So the Big Ten right now is stacked. If you look at the polls, they end up having 4 in the top 10, so it lets you know that this conference is legit. SEC's right behind him with 3. So it's going to be a fun time frame as we start to dwindle down and starting to see who rises to the top, who's going to be the cream of the crop, and who are the pretenders looking for a decent bowl game. And I can't wait till to see next week's games, and there should be some fun matchups there. And I'll make sure I get that video out to you on Friday for the Saturday games. But hey, that's just the recap review. Like I said, I went 10-2 this week. Kudos to me. I doubt I'll do that one again. I just got lucky on that one. So we'll see what happens next week. I said I get you out there Friday. Let me know which game last week you thought was the best. Which one surprised you? And after you leave the comment, go ahead and give me that thumbs up. Give me a like. You can also subscribe. Once you subscribe, hit the bell notification. Let you know next time I post another video. I'll see you next time on Chat Sports Talk.